Hello everyone, Sora here again with another action figure review. This time we're going to be taking a look at the McFarlane Toys The Witcher 3 Geralt action figure. I'll be honest, I haven't actually played the game, but I do have a copy of The Witcher 3 and I've always been meaning to play it. It's just things kept getting stuck in front of it, so it's on my list. Unfortunately, I haven't gone around to it yet, but I was always interested in the character design and stuff like that. I always thought that the game looked cool, and when McFarlane announced this action figure, I thought, this is a property that should have gotten action figures a long time ago, and I'm glad that it took this long, because now we actually have the technology to make it look really good. Before we get started on this guy, though, I just want to take a quick look at the packaging, if I can get it in frame. So The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. There's this weird... I thought it looked dirty, I'll be honest. Kind of design, not a texture, but it's just this, I guess, image on it. On the back, it's just a picture of the figure. 22 points of articulation, CD Projekt Red, Geralt of Rivia, and that's it. You can see that the stand is in there, which I'll talk about in a second. But that's just one of the accessories that Geralt comes with. So here is the figure himself. Let me get that in frame. I think, actually, that this figure is wonderfully sculpted. I think the paint details on it are pretty superb. There's like one or two places that I have minor gripes on, but you can see that he stands pretty well enough, I think. A lot of the detail, I think, the first thing that I've noticed actually is how clean this face sculpt is, if my camera will focus on it. Like the shading on the head, and like how prominent the scars are, and the fact that you can see that it's a very stoic emotion, that one I think that Geralt is known for. Really nice, and really nice sculpt on it. Really nice painting to accent that sculpt. Fantastic job, honestly. The paint is pretty much clean throughout this entire figure. I didn't notice any errors in the painting process of this figure. Like, everything just looks really clean and detailed. I know I'm gonna say that a lot. It's kind of clean though. I don't remember. I have played a little bit of The Witcher 3 a long time ago, but I don't remember his outfit being clean. You know, like he's kind of a wanderer, you know what I mean? He's kind of dirty. There's a bit of detail of that here in the boots. Like, there's some bit of like brown wash on it to make it look like he's been walking around in the mud, but it's very faint. But the rest of it is really clean. I think for a guy that like fights monsters and like demons and shit like that for a living, like he's literally carrying the head of, sorry again, I haven't played the game, I don't know what this is, but the fact that he's carrying this thing, you know, I kind of feel like he just came from a fight. The only thing I think is there's a bit of shiny right there, and right here, right there. I don't know if that picks up on the camera. Yeah, it totally does. I don't know what that is. That might just be something rubbing up against it in the packaging. But as far as like sculpt goes, it's really great. This torso piece is a rubber overlay, so there is articulation underneath that. It's a very pliable material. In fact, a lot of the rubber parts, or whatever, the very soft plasticky parts in this figure, really don't get in the way at all. Like, it's also on the chainmail on the shoulders, and also on the bicep right here, kind of. Like, it's mostly attached, but like you can see how soft this is. And just to show you how pliable this is, like, you can get a nice range right there. But we're going to talk about that once we get into the articulation, which I'll do that right now. So Geralt uses the standard McFarlane 22 points of articulation, which is kind of one of my only gripes with this figure, because I feel like a couple more, you know, a couple more places where I could articulate this figure would really sell it. But other than that, it's really fine. The head is on a ball joint, so you can get some nice tilt in there, but it's only anchored at one position. Actually, never mind. It's just on one. It's on a dumbbell joint, I think. So there's like a ball going into the head and one going into the neck. I wish the neck was also articulated, so you get some nice head bobs here, but you can kind of only hit his head down like that. Cannot go up because of the hair. The hair is actually somewhat pliable, actually, but because of the nature of the sculpt itself anyway, you can't really move them all that much. The arms go out pretty far up, actually. Want to be careful, make sure you don't bend that and crease it, but you can get it about that far up. Goes all the way around, of course. No, oh, never mind. There's Bicep Swivel right there. Double hinge at the elbows. Goes all the way up like that. The wrists are on this really nice joint that I really actually like. It's on a ball hinge, so you can twist the wrist whichever direction you want and have it go in and out or up and down independent of that. So there's a ball right there. Same thing with the feet, actually, right there. As I showed you earlier, there is an ab crunch right there. I actually don't know if that's an ab crunch or if it's a... Actually, that would have to be an ab crunch, right? That's way too deep. But you can notice he has no torso. The rubber overlay really does nothing. I mean, it hinders the articulation only a little bit. One thing I will complain though is that on the figure itself, it looks kind of baggy. I guess to give it that amount of articulation, whereas on the picture on the back of the box, it looks kind of, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it looks kind of more form fitting. Here it's a little bit more, like you can kind of see it's also already a little bit warped from just a few times that I've done that. Not that you're ever gonna have them like that. I would hope not. But you can have them go down pretty far down, and pretty far back. Sorry. It also works with the waist joint, which allows you to get that full range of motion right there. I think it's also, yeah, there's also like a tilt there. I don't know what joint that is. I can't tell. But they're like, it's like ratcheting, you know what I mean? So I don't know what's going on underneath there. Maybe actually if I pull this up a little bit, maybe. Nope. His pants go all the way up, you can't see it. Oh, I didn't really realize this crotch piece was some sort of hard rubber overlay. I wish it was softer because it does kind of get in the way. The legs go up pretty far up, actually. Goes pretty far back, actually. No thigh swivel. Kind of, but it's not really part of McFarlane's 22 points of articulation, which I genuinely hope it, I wish it was. Or at the very least down here, where the sculpt doesn't cut. That's the one part about the articulation which I dislike. Double hinge at the knee, these giant pins. These aren't gonna break anytime soon, but holy crap. Goes back that far. Like I mentioned earlier, the feet are on the same joints as the hands are in that independent ball hinge where you can go up and down, and you can also get some ankle rocking right here as well. And last but not least, he has a toe hinge. Goes pretty far up, actually. I don't know how to, sorry, it's not in the frame. But other than that, yeah, it's a really nice looking figure, if I say so myself. He comes with a few accessories. You'll notice that one of them I didn't take out of the box because I absolutely hate this thing. McFarlane sticks there. I can't even get it out of the packaging. But you see down here how it's like glued into the packaging. Yeah, it's gonna ruin the back card, which I absolutely hate. So what I did was I just grabbed one of these Neca Stands. You can buy these individually for like a pack of 10, I think, or 12. The peg that they use is literally the same size as for these McFarlane figures, which are, I think they're about the same size. Actually, I forgot to do this. Where is it? Geralt stands at around, let me get them. I want to say just underneath 7 inches, I would say. 7/8. He's an 8-inch figure, which is what most NECA figures are to scale, but they use the same size peg holes underneath here, so you can totally just use one of these bases. It might be a little snug at first, but like once you get it in there, it's like perfectly fine, and like it's actually Actually, these NECA standardized stands are bigger than the one that the Witcher figure came with, so I think I prefer this one. The only thing you're missing out on is the little logo on it, which you probably just print one out and stick it on there. But these other accessories are, again, I'm sorry, I don't know the names for any of these. This giant beast head, it looks like a wolf. This one's also got a lot of detail on it. You can see it's kind of menacing looking. Let me see if I can get the lighting in there. This is a very pliable part of the figure. You can stick it on his hands. He does not come with any alternative hands, but both his hands are open enough. But you can just stick this on here. It's super easy to do. And I didn't get my Jon Snow figure in here, but Jon Snow had this problem where his hands are so hard to open that will actually break the sword if you're trying to have him hold it. You don't have that same problem here. His hands are tough, but pliable enough that you can, or at least open enough in such a way that you can like get it in there, really. But yeah, I just have him posed like that. Like here, I brought the bounty, give me my money. His other accessories are his two swords, which I always thought was a cool design, because they're gigantic. They come in this scabbard, which looks really nice from the front. On the back, it's hollow, also unpainted. Not gonna gripe too much about that because it is advertised. You can see there's that hole cut out there. But one thing I will note is that, I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just my eyes playing tricks on me, but on the promo shots, it really looks like the silver parts of these were supposed to be painted. But if you have it in hand, you can totally tell that this mold was just cast in this kind of grayish plastic and remains unpainted, which I'm kind of okay with, but also I kind of wish that it's shown a little bit more because it's a little dull. Like you can just tell it's unpainted plastic. But they do fit really nicely in there. They do fit, each sword does fit in each scabbard. But I think there's a specific spot where they each go, right? But the back of it is pretty nice. It's a little, maybe it's a little dull compared to the rest of the figure. Like this figure is outstanding. Like the amount of detail in this is pretty crazy. And even this little accessory thing really fits. The swords kind of let me down, I'll be honest. Like they're kind of dull. I don't know how else to describe it. But here's the other one. You can see that it's there's these little runes or symbols. Let me see if it'll focus on my hand. Maybe, please. There you go. There's these little runes sculpted on both sides. They're unpainted, but they're so tiny that I don't even want to go in there and do that. I don't have a paintbrush small enough for that. But this little scabbard is on a peg hole, which just goes on his back right there. And you can kind of twist it all the way around, but they kind of seem to lock either this way or that way, but you can totally have it one way or another. I usually just have it up so that it's not in the way. And it looks really nice like that. And the swords, again, fits much nicer than Jon Snow's did. Like, you just literally shove it in there. Maybe it's just because he's holding it in an angle like that, like by default. Like it makes it a lot easier to put on. But yeah, it's a really nice looking figure. I wish that his thighs rotated just a little bit at least, because it kind of gets in the way of some posability. There's a way that these McFarlane figures are made these days that I wish they would go back on their old properties that they used to have, like especially the Assassin's Creed Black Flag line, which got that got demolished. I want decent action figures of those characters, but I don't think we're gonna get them at this point because NECA had the license, McFarlane bought it out, and they made these crappy figures. But now that McFarlane is making these 8-inch figures the same way as NECA, there's a lot of similarities to them, especially with the giant imposing knee joints. There's a way that these figures are articulated that kind of remind me of each other. to that effect, I want to do some comparisons. Here he is right next to the NECA Player Select Ultimate Nathan Drake figure. He might look a little bit shorter because Geralt is on a figure stand, but they're roughly the same size. You get almost the same amount of detail with these guys, actually. I think Nate Drake has less articulation because he only has the single hinge elbow, but he also has that same rubber overlay, you know, like the same kind of like design aesthetic. I think, let me see, except his thighs swivel a little bit more. Like even that, honestly, it's just cut out just a little bit more. That would have been enough. But Geralt does have that same tech on the thigh joint. It's just that the sculpt is so I don't know how you call it, like it gets in the way so much that you can hardly move it. But you can see they're in scale with each other, and since McFarlane and NECA have a lot of the non-Japanese video game characters, a lot of your collections for that will probably be in this scale. Here he is right next to some more of my action figures. Most of my action figures are 6-inch scale, so they're going to be shorter. Here he is with the Sora Bringer's Christmas Town Sora, and also the Figma Skyward Sword Link. They're tiny compared to him. And last but not least, I have him here with, actually, no, not last but not least. Here he is with a standard Hasbro Marvel Legends Deadpool, movie Deadpool action figure, and the Lim Toys Ahab 1/12 scale. So it's tiny compared to Geralt, but most of my figures are in this scale. That's why I was kind of hesitant on Geralt, but it just looks so cool. And honestly, I was kind of hesitant on McFarlane in general, because again, like I said, my experience with them had just kind of been these, in my opinion, like not so great 5-6 inch scale Halo and Assassin's Creed figures, which I really wanted to love, but I just don't. But since they're doing this, hopefully they get some of the old licenses back, because honestly, if there's a few properties that I really want them to get to, I really want them to get the Assassin's Creed license again. Now that they're running this scale, now that they have this new tech and sculpting, they could really do those figures justice, because the figures they came out with back then were terrible, to say the least. They were not that great at all. No articulation whatsoever. But this one, I think it feels like it just feels like it's from the game. So I give it, if you like The Witcher, definitely go buy it. Hopefully they make more figures in the series. I think there's another one, I forget his name, but he looks like some sort of demon, some sort of skull man. But I kind of want them to make like Ciri at the very least, or Yennefer. You kind of have to, right? You got Geralt, kind of have to have Ciri. But other than that, this has been McFarlane's The Witcher Geralt figure. It's fantastic. If you're a fan of the series, definitely go buy it. Maybe they'll make more. Hopefully they go back on some properties that I want them to go back to. But that's it for me. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like or a comment in the video below. If you want to see more of me, I do stream on Twitch, I think 2 or 3 times a week. I try to be pretty consistent about that. If you want to know when I'm streaming, follow me on Twitter, @Soromoto on Twitter and @Soromoto on Twitch. I will leave a link in the description and also in the comment section below. But that's it for me. Until next time, stay safe, take care, and peace out. Bye-bye!